It's a rare condition, it's called AIDS. When Magic Johnson got it, we all thought he was gay. If there was a cure, it'd be from God's design. Some people say it's even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic cure inside those deep state walls. 'Cause all I see are medical fees. My whole family's victim to HIV. We relive horrible times, but make hilarious memories. We're consciously monetizing our traumas and our friendship. We also talk about smart guy stuff sometimes. We know the show's got a stupid name. Welcome to Always Very Always. Hello, welcome back to Always Very Always, episode 8. I'm just cutting in here to say that Dantes will be back next week. I guarantee you, I got the Monster Reborn. He will be on the podcast again. He will be back next week. We could talk about why he hasn't been on in a while on the next week's episode, but that's then. Now is now. In this episode, I got you this great, very detailed, I think a pretty fun story about a bus ride from seemingly hell that I took to New Orleans to Lafayette. So hopefully you find it entertaining, and I thank you so much for bearing with my solo stupidity on the podcast for the past couple weeks, because I know y'all really here to see two dudes just hang out and have a good time. And it's been me by myself, and I think I did a competent job, but I know you want your boys back. So next week it will be me and Dantes Woodson again, but this will be the last episode of me doing this by myself, and hopefully you enjoy it. And just thank you for listening, and enjoy the episode. I would like to talk about what this episode is named after. The Megabus that I took that was sponsored by Mehrunes Dagon. So this is a tale that, just living through it, seeing what I saw, hearing what I heard on this Megabus trip. It didn't like change the course of my life, but it just showed me how ridiculous people can be. Like any absurd comedic book that you're thinking. Like, I don't know if y'all read a lot of comedic novels or whatever. But, I'm a big comedy fan. I like comedy in all its forms. And no matter how absurd they try to make a human situation, I couldn't imagine making what I saw more absurd. And since I'm not the best storyteller, I know I'm going to fuck up in just the retelling of this, because it's something that happened 3 years ago. But, hey, I'm going to tell it anyways. So in 2018 through 2019, I lived in Lafayette, Louisiana for a year, because I attended UL Lafayette. I lived on campus, lived in the dorm. Shitty situation. I hated it there. I went to UL Lafayette because my friends were there. Dantes, like a dozen other my friends from high school were there. And so I'm like, hey, I don't really have any particular ambition at the time. I just wanted to be creative, and I felt like, hey, I want to be a YouTuber anyway, so it doesn't really matter what degree I get. I was wrong to have that mentality back then, because like the YouTube went absolutely nowhere. Well, fucking failure in that sense. Fuck. But whatever. I was there from like June 2018. I started like my first semester in college. It was technically the summer semester. So I went there. I hung out with Dantes the entire semester. Certain things happened between the summer and the fall that were Dantes had to drop out of UL. So I spent like the whole fall semester just by myself, because I didn't reconnect with any of my other friends from high school. I'm just on this pretty sizable campus by myself, just alone, ambling about most days, taking like long walks in the park, listening to Flower Boy and Frank Ocean. That's how I spent most of my days, I would say. And it was like a pretty depressing time, but it was the most pleasant place to be depressed, because it's like they had a nice big park, they had good nature there. They had a lot of abandoned like streets that had like businesses on them, but no one ever went to the businesses. It was some rural town ass shit where like, how did the economy of the city work? How did all these small businesses and office spaces when I don't see any, never see any cars parked in front of them? But whatever, it made perfect places for me like to just hang out and just listen to music and walk around the city all day. Uh, and I walked all over Lafayette because I didn't have a car. I just walked everywhere and just all about. It was like one day I walked from like one side of the fucking town to the other. Maybe not completely, but I walked for like 7 hours straight. Um, and I was trying to see how far I could go in 3.5 hours and walk my way back home. It was actually a pretty interesting day if you ever have like the time and the fortitude to do something like that. Because if you're walking on the highway, there's no chance of any crime happening to you. I mean, there might be a chance someone's spinning out and running over you, but whatever. At that time, I wouldn't have minded to get fucking ran over by a car. But the fall semester comes and goes. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs academically. I mean, academically, I was on the dean's list, but there was a group project in particular I remember taking my broadcasting class where I didn't show up to like a group presentation, and they ended up getting like my partner ended up getting like a C on it. Ooh, whoa! Isn't that a parallel? I betrayed and abandoned my radio partner, and yeah, something like that. That guy was pretty mad at me too, and I told him, yeah, my anxiety was acting up, and he was like, oh, your anxiety, huh? And he kept, every time I saw him for like the next 6 months, he kept holding that against me because I was a fucking bitch for saying that and doing that. But whatever, we can touch on that a different day. But obviously in the college semester is like December 6th, like it's the first week. It's the part of the second week of December is when like it ends. And they kick you out of the dorms around Christmas time and whatnot, I believe. So I had to spend a week with my mom and sister back at mom's house. So I didn't have really a problem with that, I suppose. So I booked a Megabus since my mom didn't want to drive me. I didn't have a car. You had to book a Megabus, I think, like 2 weeks in advance to go from Lafayette to New Orleans. And the Megabus's drive was like 4 hours long, which I guess makes sense because they make a lot of stops or whatever. But, I go to the train station in Lafayette, and it was a very odd vibe about it. It felt like the train station looked like it was built in like 1850, and there's like a bus coming to a train station. I don't even know if a train ever fucking passed through Lafayette. I mean, probably, but it was like a bunch of buses lining up at a train station. I go there, I hang out, and it just seemed, something about it seemed very poor to me. Like, this shit is for poor people, and I guess I never realized it in that sort of way before. But I get on the bus, and then the bus ride to New Orleans was perfectly fine. I go to the big bus / train station in New Orleans, take a nice little get an Uber to my mom's place. The first thing I hear when I get into the Uber is fucking Fox News, Sean Hannity, like, Russia. Everybody's talking about it. New documents have been released showing that Putin has a small dick, but other conflicting reports saying that he does have big balls. And I was like, okay. So I didn't really want to get in the conversation with the guy who's listening to Fox News as like a serious, like unironic thing, because it's like, come on, man, listen to some country music or something. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. So I go to my mom's place. It was my mom, since I left Lafayette, moved into my great grandmother's house. It's a nice house. It's the only house that I think I've ever lived in, that my family, my mom's sister, like, ever had for ourselves. We lived in the house before, but we were living with I was living with my grandparents, and I was like, it felt good to be home with like the only people on this earth that I'm like in tune with, there's not like this inherent baseline level of conflict with, that there's not like any animosity. It's like we're happy to see each other again. We're hanging out. My mom's cooking up some good shit. Don't even remember the first thing I think we did first day, like, let's go to Walmart, let's get some good food, let's get some good eats. And we got good eats. What I remember in particular is getting a big fucking party sized bag of M&Ms, and like slowly grazing off the M&Ms for like 8 days. Just having them on the side of the couch and eating them. Real American stuff. Eating out of my feed bag of M&Ms, watching watching football and a little bit of basketball, and just enjoying that. Hey, and the Food Network, because I guess I never really brought this up before, because it's not really relevant. Such a fucking minor relevant detail for someone to fucking remember. But I didn't have cable for like a decade at that point, so it was a treat to like, oh shit, I'm coming back. I'm sort of living a life now. We glowed up. We doing well, baby. We got a house. We got cable. The cat doing well. My sister got a tablet. She drawing. She got a little bamboo pad. She drawing shit. She whipping it. She My mom, she got the same job, but they giving her a raise. We coming up in the world. We not even close to food stamp territory like we used to be like 12 years before that. So I spent that week. I don't remember it in vivid detail, but I just remember having a good time, joking around, playing games with my sister, watching guys' grocery games, watching the Saints. Like, let me think. I think the Saints did finish the season strong. I think that's the season they went like, did they go 13-3 or 14-2? They did good. That's the year that they end up going to the playoffs, seeing the Rams in the NFC. Let's not even talk about it. Let's not even go there right now. That's a trauma. We gonna wait a month for that trauma. Talk about that bullshit again. Anyways, wait, was that? Yeah, that was that year. Anyways, where was I? So, obviously when I booked the Megabus to New Orleans, I booked the Megabus, at the same time to go back to Lafayette. So the week goes by. Mom drives me back to the bus station. I'm waiting. But my little luggage or whatever, got a little leftovers in my thing. Got the half of like the party size bag still. They got so many M&Ms in that party size bag. It's like, this could feed like 3 parties. I still had half of that, although I was grazing the whole week. So that was in there too. And anyways, there was no drama necessarily happening at the New Orleans bus station. There might have been a couple people getting angry because they got in the wrong line for the wrong bus and said, oh, this is some fucking bullshit. Y'all told me get in this line. This is bus 33. I was told this is bus 38. So let me skip in the other line then. If you're going to bullshit me with this line, let me skip in the other line. Stuff like that. But, I get on the bus, and apparently this bus is coming all the way from Atlanta. People goes coming off of it, and they finally, and they were like, girl, I'm ready. I'm so happy to be home. That sort of stuff. The relief of finally being off that, because I had to be like a fucking 12-hour bus ride. All the stops they make between Atlanta and I'm pretty sure no one from Atlanta wants to stop anywhere between New Orleans and Atlanta. There's probably not much there for either of those demographics. But anyways, I get on the bus. I got my little spot, and I got the M&Ms on. I'm still grazing on those while I'm on the bus. But who was I sitting next to? I don't think I really had that many people on the bus at that time, so I wasn't sitting next to nobody. I'm out here listening to my favorite bits from the Chapo Trap House, because I found out about that podcast around that time, around that semester. I'm listening to that. I'm listening to music after that, and I'm just having a good time. It's a fine ride. It's a fine ride at the first little leg of the journey. We make I think our first stop. It probably was like 90, because the bus is going slower than a regular car. So it took us like maybe 90 minutes to get to Baton Rouge, where it normally would take, I feel like it takes 50 minutes to get there if there's no traffic. And you could really pedal to the metal that shit. And we get to the Baton Rouge bus station. The bus driver was like, we're going to take a half an hour stop, go pee, go poo, go eat. Well, couple people got a couple ideas. One person went beat on somebody else's wife. Let me say that again. So after, I get off the bus and I bring all the stuff, my carry-on stuff with me, because I don't trust people, and I steal my beautiful 3DS with all the Pokemon games up to that point on it. Well, all the available games on the 3DS that was on it. The Gen 1, the Gen 2, with the full Pokedex, with a couple shinies on there. Ain't nobody touching that. What else? So I go in the bathroom with my little weenie out, pee. I was like, I gotta kind of poo, but we ain't poo-pooing today. I hold it in, and I'm hearing oohs, ahs as I'm walking out the bathroom. And there's this large crowd in this bus station. There has to be something like 200 people. I don't know. It looked like the crowd at there was, how can I say this? Like a good indie show, a good indie wrestling show, a couple hundred people in the crowd. Except instead of watching two indie legends battle it out, they were seeing, this is like a backyard wrestling fight when someone gets angry. So they start actually doing moves and dropping people on their heads and stuff. I walk out. I see a grown-ass man who looks like 6'4", a skinny 6'4" dude, just wailing, going to fucking town and country on some lady. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. What's the psychology? What's the storytelling of this match? And I'm like, this guy just beating his wife? I don't understand. Why everyone just sitting here looking at this? And you might be like, well, why you ain't do nothing? Because I'm pussy, guy. Come on, what am I gonna do? I gotta be honest. With you now. That's not totally the reason. There was me and 200 people. Like, the bathroom was on the exact opposite side of the building from me. And since I'm taller than everyone else, I could see what's happening all the way over there. But, there's also like 150 people between me and the conflict. So I really can't get over there. And one thing turns to another. And I hear people started talking like, oh shit, there's a third person, another dude. And he's like, stop beating my bitch. Stop beating my fucking bitch. And he doesn't get in to fight the guy. He just breaks it up because I don't know why. He breaks it up, and then very quickly, I guess a couple of bus drivers had to break it up because there's no security at the bus station apparently in Baton Rouge. And you had all types of people. It wasn't all poor people. Lower class people from Lafayette or Baton Rouge or any of Southern Louisiana. It was all types of people. There was a businesswoman there, a black businesswoman sort of deal. And she was like, and she took her bags and just walked outside. I ain't getting in the middle of this. Somebody about to get shot and it ain't about to be me. That was her body language. She didn't say that. She probably didn't sound like that either because she was a black businesswoman. She knew how to, Black men code switch. Black women, they have a phase. It's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. A caterpillar turning into a butterfly. There's a metamorphosis. They have whatever their like people around them sound like as a kid, and then they see, oh, if I want to make it in this business world, the serious world, I'm gonna have to take that code, and now I'm gonna have to switch it on and off throughout my life. I'm taking it, and now it's me. That code is now hard coded into the way I talk. So get rid of that. That was Latanya version 1, but version 2 update, we getting rid of that old Tanya completely. We getting a whole new system. I got a whole new code. I'm talking like I was raised in a higher circumstance. I'm one of the good black people that these white businessmen can trust. That's the psychology. Are they right? Are they wrong for doing it? That's not for me to decide. I'm just an observer. I'm a neutral observer. I'm a storyteller, and I'm a person who captures the human experience in all of its beautiful forms and shades. So I'm not passing any judgment for people doing this right or wrong on anything. Maybe that guy was right for beating the shit out of that woman. Maybe all those 200 people were right for just sitting there and let it happen. Maybe that person was right in shoplifting a couple bags of chips in all the commotion. But hey, that's for you to decide, not me. That's for you to pass judgment on, not me. But anyways, what's another aspect of this? Before we get back on the bus, what's another aspect that I saw here? I do go, since we were there for half an hour, the fight gets broken up, and I hear whispers or whatever. So apparently that woman was the third person's girl, right? Because he said, don't touch my bitch, don't touch my bitch. And maybe because I couldn't ask anybody about this. It seemed like no one really knew what's going on. So what I surmised out of it is that the first guy who was beating up the woman either cheated on him in the past or cheating on him right now, and it just got physical. He solved this altercation physically in front of like 200 witnesses instead of just, because it was an argument at first. I did hear like yelling, but I was in the bathroom, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But just some sort of disagreement, somebody wronged somebody. The obviously the man who made it physical felt like he got wronged. Was I the person who got wronged first by the woman? Did it warrant a beat down on that woman? Them going fist to fist on it? I don't know. I can't tell you. Again, I'm just an observer. I'm just a fucking observer. But my problem was with that is like the stand by me effect. What's it called? The stand biter. Wait, the stand biter? The bystander. That's what it is. The bystander effect was in full effect there, and I feel like that's such a bullshit. Like to me, like that's not. It's like the sociology behind that is like, oh, somebody else is gonna do something. But for me, that's not. It applies and it doesn't in this situation because like you're choosing to be a coward, and like you're choosing to be a bystander because you're a coward instead of being like, oh, I don't have the ability to do it. Like this one thing if someone's like, oh, I got a heart attack, is there a doctor on the plane? Like it's not or someone's like yelling fire or something from a window. It's like, well, I'm not a fireman, somebody else gonna do that. I can understand that. The psychology of the bystander effect to me is like, well, somebody else is going to handle it, so I don't have to do it. It's not, well, that is a problem that I could fix, but I'm not going to do it because I'm a little bitch. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Maybe it's just all the same thing. I go into the little cafeteria slash corner store area inside the bus station, see if they have any good treats. They have shit in there. They're selling burgers and hot dogs, but I'm not able to eat a burger on a bus. Although, I'm taking an RTA for 4 years, in New Orleans. There was a lot of people eating plates and then getting mad while they spilled something and then not picking it up. So I don't want to be one of those folks who do that on the bus. But after that horrific 30 minutes, Like there was continued arguments and yelling, but I don't remember that in detail. I get back on the bus, on the bus, and now this older man is next to me. I'm like, okay, cool. No, that was a stop. That was the next stop. But anyway, at this stop though, there was this woman who's been on the bus since New Orleans, and there was this guy who got on this bus to Lafayette in Baton Rouge at that stop. And before the bus takes off, the bus driver didn't get back on yet. He was still getting ready to do the next like little leg of the journey. So there's like 10 minutes or so before he got back on while I'm on the bus and while these other people are on the bus. And there was this woman sitting in her little seat, had her bag right next to her. You know, there wasn't enough people on for it to be two to a seat yet, so she had a little bag next to her. She was on her phone, and there's a person a man who sat right in front of her. And, you know, he turns around and started engaging in conversation with this person who was a stranger. I was listening very intently to this conversation because, you know, I had nothing better to do. I half-assed wanted to go in the bathroom and beat off right quick. It was not because of that, just unrelated. I hadn't beat off in quite some time at that point. So I'm like, man, could I really get away with beating off in the bathroom? Probably not. I always had a fear. Like, cause I did a Megabus, I think, a couple times before and after that like I would, like the bus would turn and I would fall out of the bathroom, like with my dick out. So I didn't want to risk it. But anyways, two were talking. I got a little gas here. Sorry about that. Got a little gas in my mouth. But anyways, the two were talking and one thing turned to another. They're introducing themselves to each other. And the guy says, yeah, I just got out of prison. You know, I don't got a phone or nothing right now, so can I use yours? And the girl was like, oh, okay, here you go. And, you know, he uses the phone, he texts whoever, and then he's like, oh, let me get your number too, though. And the girl was like, huh? Like, yeah, come on, you know, let me get your number right quick. It was like, oh, okay. And then they start talking about stuff. This, that, and third, what's happening in the news. And it's just some random woman, from what I'm surmising, because they didn't know each other beforehand. That's the way it seemed from the conversation. And then he brings it up like again. Oh, but wait, before you know, you put your earphones in, let me get your number though. We could, you know, because we could talk some more about the stuff that we've been talking about, you know. And I want to get your number so we could do that and stuff. So the woman gets pressured into giving her phone number to this ex-convict, fresh out of prison. And that was that. And they were having this guy was forcing like horrific topics on the woman too. They're not talking about like this casual stuff or happening in politics. They're not talking about what was happening at the time, the midterms that just happened. They ain't talking about the pictures of Putin's penis like on Fox News. They were talking about, oh yeah, they had this murder right here, and I wasn't witness to that, but I heard little Tommy, you know, that's my nigga from back in the day. You telling me this, that, and third, and then 2 days later they had a reprisal shooting, killed my other nigga, you know, but I didn't see that either because I was in jail. I was in prison at the time. And, you know, I was trying to get my last little hits in. And try to turn these cigarettes into some, you know, into some real stuff on the outside. And, you know, I was moving my last little packages on the inside, you know, boost some shit, did my thing. But there was like a third murder. Cause, you know, my dudes hitters. My dudes be hitting on some other shit. And we don't think, oh, we take one of yours and you take one of ours. Then now we even not nigga. I'm trying to get yours and one. And, you know, one of my dudes, I'm not ratting on nobody. I ain't saying nobody real name or nothing. But, you know, you seem cool, girl. You ain't gonna rat on shit. And I don't even care that everybody else hearing, because they know I'm fresh out. I'm on my real nigga shit anyway. So ain't nobody gonna fucking snitch or something. But anyway, my third hitter, he was like, fucking Lil Drake he hit him with the pump 2 times, drive by in front of his fucking wife and kids. And we was happy about that because that nigga had it coming. But yeah, what you doing? What's your phone number looking like? And the girl was like, uh. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I feel like I need this, even though it's not my place. I feel the need to step in and do something right now, because no one. Why? Because we understand psychology here. He's fresh out of prison. He's probably been there for a little minute, and he needs a little guck guck, a little clap clap. You know. So, but he was forceful with it. He's like, the first woman I'm next to, I'm smashing. And that should be a part of like the, what's it called, halfway house. I guess maybe not every ex-con goes through a halfway house sort of deal. Is that what that's for? Prisons, right? But that should be part of the program. You get out, there's like a woman. It's not prostitution, but there's like a dating program ran by the government that's like, hey, we'll date an ex-con. It's not prostitution. It's not any of that. It's dates. It's relationships. It's meant to be some, maybe you trying to find the one that's for you. People who are willing to date ex-con. That's probably already a site, but it should be guaranteed as a right as a U.S. citizen that you get somebody who could, you get just like a formal process to have maybe a relationship to see if anyone's interested in you, like a formal process for it, not to force anyone on you and not to force someone off the street to be with you. It's not coercive or nothing, but we're just trying to link people up. Because, a lot of women out here don't want an ex-con, especially not one that's fresh out. But some women don't mind. They're just looking for a man. They're looking for a tough guy. And looking for a guy who maybe got a little baggage, but is willing to deal with it. Not these random struggling women who have to take mega buses just to drive to one town over. That's not the type of people that we need to be pressuring to get in relationships with ex-cons. Ex-cons need a type of person who will suck their way to the next town if they don't have a car. Some real, my body is a tool to get what I want type bitches. I think, but maybe that ain't right. Maybe I'm down bad for saying something like that. What's the next thing? So the bus driver gets back on the bus, and we the next stop, I'm trying to think, because I did some research on trying to I looked at a map to like jog my memory to think of like what town it was, and it was either Gross Tete or Gross Tete, I don't know how to pronounce it, or Rosedale or Henderson, but some dog shit rural town in between Baton Rouge and Lafayette, which are also dog shit rural towns, but they're just bigger. But apparently there was a development that was happening that I didn't realize until after the stop. There was people up front. There was this couple up front, two white folks, brunettes. They were with each other, and apparently the man was being like real aggressive and sort of abusive with his language or whatever. And people on the bus started talking. Like we finally got off the bus at, oh god, gas, fuck. I shouldn't have ate that chili earlier today, but niggas out here struggling, and fucking chili was 50 cents. I had to save a lot. But anyways, so like they get off the bus at the gas station so the bus can refuel. We out for 20 minutes and people are talking on the bus. Yeah, that man ain't right. He treating that lady all fucked up. Something gonna happen. And then as that's happening, I'm looking at the couple, and he's like yanking her. It's like Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth type shit, being like real, what's it called, demandatory, physical, like real commanding with her. And they keep debating, are we gonna get off here, are we not? It's like, didn't you book this fucking bus like weeks in advance? How are we confused at this point in the journey where we're gonna get off, at which fucking shitty town we're gonna get off in? And they kept like debating, and the man was like yelling at her, being forced for us, like, we getting off. and the woman looked very scared. She was like, oh shit, something's about to happen right now. And this kept developing, but I didn't really understand what's going on. And the people who were paying attention this whole bus ride, because I don't know when they got on, they were like, that girl in trouble, and there was another white woman on there that was like, oh, we might have to call the police because something's about to happen. They're gonna get off and something's about to happen. So during that that little gas station break, this all happened within 20 minutes. All this observations happened within this 20 minutes. I go in, big long line. I might have been dumb, even though I had a half bag of party size M&Ms. I might have got another bag of M&Ms just in case, just to get something, I guess. But by the time I buy my stuff and I'm hanging outside, I'm like, oh, people getting back on the bus, but while it's still fueling up, so I might as well get back on the bus because like it's about to rain. It's about to rain pretty hard. So the woman gets back on that abused woman gets on the bus, and a couple other women get on the bus, and the women were like, but the man didn't go on the bus. He was still like in the gas station, probably shooting up in the bathroom. I don't know. They had a very much fucking the main character and the main character's girl from Lost in the Dam, but they were both the girl. I don't know. Maybe that probably doesn't fit. That probably just confused you just now because that doesn't fit at all. But anyways, the women on the bus, like, they used that time where the guy wasn't there to say, just stay on the bus. We're here for you. We'll stand up to him. But if you stay on the bus, we could help you. We could protect you because, this, that, and third. And I'm like, wow, something serious is about to happen. And then, they talked to her for about 5 minutes. The bus driver's coming back. He's getting ready to go. And the man's like, come on, girl. We about to go. And the couple of the women are looking at the girl like, you don't gotta go. You could stay. And the girl goes anywhere. Doors closed behind her. And it says, oh my. And then some white bitch in the front like, oh my God, that girl about to be killed. And she was right. She's probably, I checked the news for like the next couple of days of the area to see if anyone got murdered. I didn't see anything, but that didn't mean she didn't get abused and other things as well. So that's another example though. People were a little bit more aggressive, a little more assertive, a little more protective, but at the end of the day, you still let her go. You could have said, I guess to some degree you can't be controlling what a grown adult people doing, especially strangers, but it's like at the end of the day, all your efforts are for naught because you still let her go to this person who was an obvious danger to you. To me, I was at the back of the bus. Because in the South, it's not pure, like people always talk about, segregation is still basically here just through private means. And what that means is that some of the bus companies, they don't make all the blacks sit in the back, but they have a designated black to sit in the back of every bus. I'm like, hey, I'll do that. I'll be a designated black because, I am a revolutionary. I went to Ho Chi Minh City and Malcolm X University there, and I learned all the cool black guy stuff to do. And taking one for the team was one of the main tenets of Malcolm X's theories and all that good stuff. So, but anyways, they just let her go, and I don't know what happened to her. At least she didn't get murdered in the next 3 days, or at least her body didn't get found in the next 3 days, so no one knows. That was a Stranger and Freaks mission with not a happy ending. But we had a guy got on board though. It wasn't even it was a gas station. It wasn't even a bus stop, but I remember pretty vividly that a guy came on board with me. It was an older gentleman, and we started chatting it up. He was like a nice guy, personable guy, and he was like, "Hey, you're a young guy. You in school? What you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I major in broadcasting. I go to UL and all this. Now just visiting my family over the holidays." It was like, "Oh, that's fucking great." I was visiting my family too over here in fucking Gross Teat / Rosedale / Henderson / bumfuck nowhere. And I'm just going back. I'm taking this bus back to Beaumont right now. And yeah, I work in the electrification business, and I electrify electricity and all this good stuff. I get on top of the thing, on top of the pole, and I'm like, hey, you got electricity now, folks. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And can you tell me more about that? So, well, yeah, it's a pretty simple job. It's dangerous, but it's pretty simple. I get these wires, and usually the old process of making electricity, we just get like a bunch of wild boars. This is how I do back and down the south. We got a bunch of wild boars in these giant boar wheels, and they sprint and sprint and sprint, and that's how I generate the electricity. But nowadays, we're really inspired by a couple of movies, and we got a couple of freestyle rappers. And it was the movie 8 Mile. We have an 8 Mile based system, and we have freestyle rappers and beatboxers, rap and beatbox to some wires, and that generates enough electricity for most of the time in the South for the power not to go out. But even if there's a tornado or a hard breeze, the power will go out. And all this, and he said, "But enough about me. What's it like to be a broadcaster?" And I was like, "Hey, I had an internship at a radio station. It seemed pretty cool, pretty easy, and this, that, and the third." It's like, well, you seem like you got a good personality, don't you? Got a little bit of charisma, you got a good voice. I think you're gonna do gonna do fine, friend. Oh, well, thank you, man. And then we start talking about some other stuff, some family stuff, and it was like, you know what? I never got. I think my family got it all wrong about black people. Y'all are just like us, except y'all are about 25%, less intelligent, I would say. And I was like, hey, man, let's not make it racial, but thank you. Thank you for saying it. You're an honest man. You're a good man. And, do your thing. So I don't remember being on the bus with him the whole time, but anyways, as we're talking, it gets darker and darker, not because it's becoming nighttime. It's like the middle of the day. I got on the bus like at 8, and this might be like 11 or 12 now. It's getting dark because those heavy clouds are rolling in. A thunderstorm starts, and you've been living in Louisiana. You made this trip to Western Louisiana. Unless you took the southern road, but if you're on I-10, eventually you have to go over I think it's called the Atchafalaya Spillway or something, which is just this bridge, this extended like interstate that is like 20 feet above like the water normally. Like when the tide is low, or when it's like the swamp a little bit drier, it goes like 20 feet above the water or something like that. But when it's raining heavy and it's flooded and tide's high, that water is coming up very close to the fucking bridge. And it was windy, thunderstorm, and it's dark out. And I kind of had that fear. Normally I would, like on these spillways, the Bonnie Carey spillway is the other one that people really hate driving on. And also the river. Is that the one that crosses? One of the spillways crosses the other basin. One crosses the Atchafalaya River, and one crosses Lake Pontchartrain, or something like that. But those long, winding, fucking interstates with not that many lanes on it could be a little intimidating. But when I'm on a bus, I don't really get scared because like it's not like the wind is gonna knock us over, and the bus driver, he ain't trying to die. He's a competent driver, so. Unlike regular drivers who seemingly have a strong death drive upon them. Anyways, it's raining hard, so fucking hard. It's like it's raining harder than it did the last fucking year. Just heavy stuff. So by the time we get to Lafayette, we get to the bus stop, Lafayette is just flooded. I get to the bus station, I get out. I'm sitting, I'm ordering a Lyft, because I use Lyft, not Uber. I call it an Uber, but I use Lyft. because Lyft is the one that is not ran by the Ku Klux Klan or something. I don't remember. Uber's the one that's ran by like the Klan, and I think Uber actually killed George Floyd. I think something like that, and that's how I have to use Lyft, and why I always use Lyft. So I was waiting, and at this time, I was listening probably for like the last like hour and 15 minutes. I was listening to a 30-minute loop of Armored Armadillo's theme from Mega Man X while I was waiting. And I was just like, I was finally happy to be home, but it felt like it was so close but so far away because the Lyft was taking forever. A couple people canceled. The water in the streets is getting higher and higher. The thunderstorm is getting heavier and heavier. And the flooding at this time, like on the street that I was on, a lot of streets like in my area in Lafayette, 3 feet, 3.5 feet. The shit was like, it was like up there. It was like way past my knees. It wasn't quite to my hips, but it was up there. It was like, if I can't drop anything on the ground because I'm never getting it back. I was half-ass scared that I was going to slip, fall in, and get sucked into the fucking sewers on the side of the thing. Because the little sewer drains are obviously going to be a little bit bigger in some of these areas that have like the end of a slope, because they're going to take all the water in anyway. So they might as well make it a little bit bigger. Eventually the lift does come, and I am past knee deep in the fucking street because it's so fucking flooded and it's only getting worse. The guy pops the trunk and the water is almost in the fucking trunk, and I have to throw my shit in right quick, get in the car, bring a bunch of water with me, and as soon as I get in, it's one thing turns to another. This stressful ass bus ride, and they got delayed a little bit. I just feeling a little bit of stress right now, and I start hearing on that radio some gospel bullshit, and I think I don't know, unless you're a really Bible thumping holy roller type, pretty much everyone hates that bullshit. Not for any religious reason, it just seems like so. There's a corny element to fucking gospel radio, not gospel music. I don't know anyone who hates gospel music. But I would have loved if I got in that fucking car and was like, never would have made it. But no, I heard some, feel the spirit flow through you. Pull down your pants, bend over, and feel all 8 inches of God's divine glory. Right now, surrender yourself to God's beautiful, peculiar light. I'ma need you to get on your knees, close your eyes, and feel every inch of Jesus all up in you. Let it spill down your chin onto the floor, and I want you to get every drip of Jesus all up in you. And I'm like, come on, back it up a little bit, man. Can we tone it down a little bit? You're acting all hopeful. I don't know, something about that made me angry. But I guess looking back on it now, I guess it is kind of humorous. But after a while, I'll finally get back home. And yeah. I think like I want to say this too. Dantes perceived me as some sort of like a raging atheist that hates all expressions of Abrahamic religiosity. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. I like religion, but I am an atheist. But because atheist just means like a lack of belief. It's not necessarily. It's a certain whatever. There's an affectation with atheism that I don't have that is associated with atheism. But I think let's look at the definition right here. Atheism definition. I looked at this other day. It's the disbelief or lack of belief in the existence of God or gods. Yeah, I don't have a belief in any gods, any existence of gods, and at least in the traditional sense. And But I'm not like against religion. I wouldn't ban religion if I became like the leader of the country or anything like that. Someone's texting me, but I gotta finish this episode right quick, so I'm gonna do that. Yeah, Dante's always perceived a lot of stuff different from what I actually am. Maybe that's a discussion for a different day. Anyways, I finally get home. Instead of like stress eating, I relief ate. Like I ate out of finally I'm fucking done. Let me just associate this relief with something good. Let me some M&Ms, some of this leftovers. But less than 15 minutes of me being home and unwinding, Dantes calls me. And I tell them this whole, back then it was a 20-minute story. I told it with a lot more vigor and probably even more detail. But I was spitting really hard. I was really chugging really hard, and it was a great 20 minutes. And I wish I had the recording of that phone call, so I could just play that here. But I the reason it took me so long, damn near an hour, to tell this story, because I had to remember. So I had to make such an effort to remember everything that happened on that day, on those days. And hopefully you found that little journey entertaining, and hopefully that makes up for the first like 30 minutes of this podcast where I talked about that drama. So I guess before I go, I could have some plugs, and I'm just gonna say, your boy needs some milk. In particular, I need some milk money. And you can help a brother out by checking out the Patreon. Patreon.com/always very always. The link is in the description. If you need to check that out. With the $5 tier, you get access to all the bonus episodes of the podcast. I think there are two. There's two already there. The one from this Monday, I made it free on the RSS feed to make up for as a show of good faith that I'm not here to just fucking to make up for the fact that Dantes isn't here, and then there's an adjustment period to how I'm gonna make this show and how I'm going to run things from here on out. So I don't think you should suffer just because I can't handle my business and other people can't handle their business. But there's two on there. There's gonna be going forward. You know, I don't see me really unlocking too many Patreon episodes going forward. But with the $10 tier, you can have not only the bonus episodes as before, but there's a 2 bits every week. There's a Wednesday and a Friday bit. I did 2 editions of Carol Hogan Weekly News already, and there's a video that I did from a while back you could check out. And I think from here for like the next month or so, there's like 10 compilations of phone calls and audio recordings that are recorded with Dantes and everyone's consent, and I got the consent to upload it beforehand, that you could check out. Some funny stuff on there. The audio quality isn't great because, you know, it's 2 shitty fucking Walmart phones that we're recording on, but I think there's a lot of funny stuff on there, and that'll be coming out. You know, the $10 Patreon, the $10 tier will come out Wednesday and Friday. You'll get 2 extra bits a week, spanning anywhere between it's gonna be usually like an hour's worth of content almost, so it's almost like a second bonus episode, but it's like a different dynamic because it's like from years ago. We also have a clip channel. I would subscribe to that. It's called Always Very Clips, and I'll be doing 3 clips a week on that channel to make the show more accessible and shareable. What else? I don't think I might start uploading there this week, but I'm just giving you a preemptive thing. Like, that's where the official clip channel will be. So if you have any clips that you like that haven't been uploaded there, you can give me suggestions going forward. Oh, why don't you put this as a clip or whatever? I think the date for me uploading clips is October 3rd. Because I think every month I want to add a new aspect to the podcast. So like October is going to be the month of like having a clip channel. I think November I'm going to get some guests on here. I'm targeting 3 guests, and I know for sure I can get at least one of them. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be big for our show. And I guess I want to say thank you to all the listeners who made it through all this, almost an hour and a half of this stuff, and I'm happy, so happy that people like actually half-ass tolerate me, and I just can't appreciate that enough. And I guess I can give special thanks to our one patron as of recording. His name is Alec Moses. Shout out to him, but he's on the $5 tier. Thank you very much, brother. But I also thank everyone who is sharing the show with your friends and whatnot. Just, just thank you. Just all of you, the whole audience. Thank you a million times. Thank you, because I think got a little juice, and I think this podcast could go places. So let's fucking do it. We can have a good time doing it. Yeah. That's all I got for now. Just thank you so much, and see you next week, folks.